A few months ago, I found myself at a crossroads. Middle age had crept up on me faster than I expected, bringing with it a strange mix of restlessness and reflection. Work had become a constant grind, and I realized I hadn't taken time for myself in years. My daughter was now old enough to start her own life, making her own choices, and I found myself with more time and space than I was used to. I'd always been passionate about motorcycles, but as the years went by, riding became something I only did on weekends, if at all. One morning, feeling the weight of everything, I made a decision. I packed a small bag, grabbed my helmet, and set out on my KTM with no plan, no destination, just me and the open road. There are a lot of reasons a middle-aged motorcyclist like me would take a solo trip. First, there's the desire for freedom. After decades of commitments, work responsibilities, and raising a child, I needed space. Not the kind of space that comes from a weekend off, but the kind that only the open road can provide, a real break from it all, where the only decisions are your own. I also craved a sense of adventure that had started to fade with time. In middle age, you start realizing that life's predictable rhythms can dull your sense of spontaneity. I wanted to remind myself what it felt like to explore the unknown, to get lost in the ride and discover new places. Another reason was solitude. After years of balancing life's demands, I found myself wanting time alone to reflect, to think without interruption. Middle age brings with it questions, about the past, the future, and who you are now. Being on the bike gave me that space to process everything. There's something meditative about riding, about the rhythm of the engine and the steady hum of the road beneath you, that clears your mind in ways nothing else can. Lastly, I wanted to feel that sense of control again. As life moves on, there are so many factors that pull you in different directions: family, work, society's expectations. A solo motorcycle trip puts the control back in your hands. On this journey, I could ride at my own pace, stop when I wanted, and take whichever road felt right in the moment. That sense of independence, of being fully responsible for where you go, was a big part of why I needed to do this alone. As I left the city behind, I felt a shift inside me. The sense of freedom was immediate. The wind in my face, the steady roar of the engine, it was a feeling I hadn't fully appreciated in years. The ride wasn't just about getting away from my daily routine, it was about reconnecting with myself. I took back roads through the countryside, stopping whenever I felt like it, letting the road guide me. No one was waiting for me, no deadlines or schedules to keep. It was just me, my bike, and the endless horizon. Riding alone gave me time to think, something I hadn't truly done in a long while. With my daughter beginning to carve out her own path, I found myself reflecting on the years that had passed and what the future held for me. Middle age makes you pause, forces you to look back and ask yourself where you're going. On that trip, with nothing but the road ahead, I found the space to do that. The miles rolling beneath my tires gave me a sense of clarity, a reminder that life, much like riding, isn't just about where you end up, it's about the journey you take to get there. Being on my own, making my own decisions, felt empowering. Middle age often comes with the realization that life is full of compromises, but on this trip, I was in control. I rode at my own pace, stopped where I wanted, and took in the scenery without worrying about anyone else's needs. It reminded me of the adventurous spirit I had when I was younger, and how that part of me still existed, waiting to be awakened. By the time I got home, I felt lighter, more at peace with this new phase of life. That solo trip wasn't just an escape, it was a chance to hit reset. Now, I find myself planning more journeys. I'm thinking about taking a trip up to the mountains, riding through the Pindus Range, camping out under the stars, letting the fresh air clear my head. Or maybe a coastal ride, tracing the Greek shoreline, stopping at quiet beaches and letting the sound of the ocean wash over me. Eventually, I want to take on something bigger, a ride across Europe, exploring new countries and rediscovering the thrill of adventure. Middle age isn't a time to slow down, it's a time to rediscover the things that make you feel alive. For me, that's the freedom of the open road. These trips aren't just about riding, they're about reconnecting with myself, challenging my limits, and embracing the journey, wherever it may lead me next.